My experience in multimedia development 1 was quite good. At first I actually didn't really know what it was. I thought it was like a lot more like videoing and animation, stuff like that, but then I realised it was gaming and I was a bit like no, but then once I went through it I actually loved it, so it worked out.
We were being introduced to all these new things, and multimedia with the game as well took everybody off guard.
Multimedia Development 1, I have to say I enjoyed it because it was completely different to any other module that we had done before.
My experience with Multimedia Development 1 is I thought it was really good. I actually enjoyed it. It was definitely a new, interesting experience.
I had a good experience in Multimedia Development 1. I did quite well in the module and I found that I wasn't like overworked or like there was too little, like it was grand, like everything was fine.
My experience in Multimedia Development 1 was a good one. I feel like I learned a lot and I came out with more skills and improved learning qualities.
So in our first semester it was kind of like different to all our other courses, whereby it was more independently run, so it was kind of like you did the work yourself and every week you'd kind of get checked on and you could talk to Sean whenever you needed it.
The structure of Multimedia 1 was really well planned out, just because from day one you know what you're expected of for until your last day.
At the start, like when we first came, I was a little bit like, I didn't really want to do this module, to be honest with you. It didn't seem something that like I'd be interested in, but like towards the end I did like that changed because I was enjoying like each week like coming up with your game and all that, and like it wasn't just making a game, it was like everything behind the game. So I do enjoy it and I look back on it like in a good way, not in a bad way.
So I think the workload was roughly the same, but it felt like more because it was that broken up.
The workload I felt was pretty standard. The vlogs, no problem with, they were a joy to do.
At the time it seemed like there was an awful lot because there was so many blog posts that we had to complete each week, and it seemed like that was in a way like that there was an awful lot going on as well, especially when you take into account the likes of the group project. But looking back on it now, it actually wasn't that much work. It was just, it seemed like it at the time because it was something completely different. But yeah, I think it is certainly this semester it seems an awful lot easier to actually do the blog posts because we got so used to writing on that.
I thought it was good that like, I thought it was different how each week you had something to do. Like it wasn't like just at the end you had to do everything, like it was all like a bundle, which is good because a few of the modules is a bit like that.
It was very manageable. It didn't, because we were doing it week by week, it didn't just build up on top of you.
We had to do a lot of writing, a lot of reading, a lot of kind of doing work, compared to other modules where they just give us like a finish deadline.
It's kind of like a 50-50. It was the same amount of work, but it was spread over an even amount of time.
Obviously you're working towards like a finished product, but it's different in the sense that you don't really get the marks so much for the finished product. It's more so about the process to actually get there.
It's more about the progress in the module, so as long as that you're showing that you're doing your work and you're progressing, that's good.
It's as if you're taking an assignment from another module and spreading it out over a long time. Like that's essentially what it is. It's the same amount of work, just spread over an even amount of time.
I feel that another skill that I have attained instead of making a game for Multimedia 1 would probably be writing, because I got a bit better at that because I was kind of forced to talk about myself on the blog post and kind of just do it in a more elegant and kind of mature way, a college student way.
What worked best for me was actually the blogs, because I'm borderline dyslexic, so it actually helped me with like my spellings and stuff like that, so it was actually really cool.
I thought the best was the vlogs. They were consistent with some people still adapting to the situation. They didn't quite get just the timetable. There was other modules they were prioritising, but for me it was the blogs and the research subjects we were searching up in terms of our games. So Sean had us looking at a lot of old stuff to do with games. I had an interest in games a little bit, and I didn't know much about the history, but then he asked us, well, it was kind of necessary to dig deep into the whole history of the games, how they were created, how people dealt with them in their situations, so creating their own games as well. So I thought the research part was the best part for me, because I just found out a lot more than I didn't, and I still know a good bit of it.
You could see last semester from like the very first week to kind of towards the end of December, you could see how like everyone else's wording and the detail that they went into, they were able to explain stuff an awful lot quicker.
It was a nice way to introduce you to the side of blogging, especially in the industry that we're all kind of hoping to go in. It's good.
It was a good way to put your own thoughts down and get feedback from other people.
I'd use a lot more terms I wouldn't use. Longer paragraphs, much more detailed writing than I usually would.
The blogs are definitely handy because you could look up information on what you need at any time.
It is beneficial, not only for yourself, but for other modules as well, because I'd say other modules down the line will require a lot more reading and research as well.
I definitely think my writing skills improved because of the necessary word quota that we would need to get each time. So I would like refine my vocabulary and kind of like add to each little piece, so make the blog seem more detailed and interesting.
Actually, yeah, I think the blogs have helped a little bit with writing skills overall. It's just like the process of like actually sitting down and writing, and then every time you come back, it's kind of easier and easier and easier. So I can see how it could actually benefit you.
It might seem like a lot of work, but it's actually not. It's just broken down into small, tiny little pieces.
The blogs as a portfolio tool, I think, did benefit because like you did your work and you had all that proof, and like you can put that in the portfolio, and then you're like if you're going for a job in that sector, they will be impressed with kind of your consistency.
My favourite part for Multimedia Development 1 was probably all the writing. You know, it just made it a lot easier rather than making games and then coming back to getting the feedback when I could just write up and document all the work that I did. I just thought it was easier that way.
My favourite part of Multimedia Development 1 was actually learning the coding. I actually, not really a big fan of coding and stuff like that, but actually loved it at the end.
A lot of research, a lot of writing to do with what subject you picked for the game, how you were going to approach it. It definitely is different, like doing with the research. You do learn a lot more compared to maybe lectures as well.
The fact that you have everything in front of you, like in blog posts, you can see what people are doing, you can see examples of their work, you can see their research, like it's certainly better.
It's kind of fun to do, to be honest, and you have your own kind of space, you style it however you like, and you have your own like work in progress to it, and people give feedback, so it's good to see if you do like a good job or not. So, and then you just show improvement, and then the final piece.
I've learned how to like each week have like a day like to do work, not leave everything to last minute.
I think it's good in the way it kind of makes you responsible for what your grade is, and it's not really, it lets you have room to kind of learn abilities rather than having to be great at it right at the start, you know.
My favourite part of the module would be the blogs, definitely. I think they worked well because it was a good medium to give feedback to other students.
Well, I think his website works very well because it has semester 1 and semester 2 divvied up pretty much.
Compared to the other modules, we actually had a lot more feedback. Like every single week we had some feedback. Like our lecturer would actually sit there with us for like the 2 hours and just help us.
I do feel this benefited me a lot because, as again, it's not like where you handed up paperwork or anything to do with information about your project and you give it to the teacher or lecturer and then you don't see it for about a year. Whereas the blog, it's there, it's always going to be there, you can always reflect on it, look back on it, even help you in the future as well.
And again with peers, I had never learned or taught myself that I had to write all of these like what, when, where, why, how, you know. So definitely the feedback in terms of like reading articles and everything was beneficial towards lengthening my knowledge on words and everything.
I learned how to like critique other people's work and how to take feedback as well, so how to take it on and implement it, but also how to give people constructive and fair feedback, but also doing it very friendly in that.
In comparison with the feedback given to other modules, I feel that it's probably a lot better. The lecturer is always on top of it. Like he'll notice you won't submit a blog, he'll notice and he'll confront you about it. So I feel like the feedback is on par.
Sean can actually reply to us through, like whether it's email, like we're encouraged to email him like to say what we've done for each week, and also he can actually look at the blogs and can read what we're doing week by week, so he's able to give us more accurate feedback.
The feedback with this module, Sean did a really good job. Every 4 weeks it's standard for his, because I know his workload will be immense as well. And of course he interacts with the vlog, so he was every day nearly of every week it was constant feedback, but it depends on you as well. Like you have to go out there to look for the first. You need to know if you need it or not. All you have to do is ask him, and then he's straight to you with the blogs or in person and whatever else. He is there for you.
I'd say they've improved when it comes to more critiquing people's work, because beforehand I wouldn't have been great at critiquing other people's work or taking feedback, but when you start to see other people's work, you'd maybe have a better idea of what to look out for, maybe be more helpful at that.
I enjoyed the self-assessment and the peer assessment. It was nice to because sometimes you don't get to see what others are doing in the year, you don't get that, so it was good to see how other people are keeping up and all, and how they're getting along with it. So yeah, that was good.
I feel that the amount of feedback is really good. It's very helpful.
The feedback is great because it doesn't just come from Sean. With the comments, you get feedback from people in your class telling you what they thought of the game. And Sean himself, he does do meetings with us explaining or helping us with the game. So yeah, the feedback is definitely high and very good.
The feedback was good because it was on an individual one-on-one basis.
I think the feedback Sean gives is really good, honestly. It's good to be able to have a weekly sit down, even though, like you said, the lectures aren't mandatory, but he is there if you do have questions. If you need something, he will be there to answer. So I do like the amount of involvement and hands-on he has.
I feel in comparison to the modules with the extra credit, I feel it's a lot better because there's a lot of opportunity to get extra marks.
My favourite part of the module was definitely extra credit, because times where you just, life gets in the way and you mightn't have got that in time, and then the extra credit stuff was actually pretty fun, and you'd learn more things from doing extra credit, so that was definitely probably my favourite part.
In terms of other modules, the extra credit, I think it's a big plus.
The extra credit did definitely help me, especially towards the end when I wanted to catch up, and it's definitely something that I'd like to see in other modules, because obviously there are circumstances, everyone has them, which people can't do something a certain week and they can't catch up because obviously something is overdue as it is, so the extra credit definitely helped me catch up personally, and it's a really good idea.
The extra credit is definitely beneficial. One thing that I know is that it's all up to you. So if you want the extra credit, you can get it. But I thought that was a good idea.
I think the extra credit, especially for semester one, is very helpful when you don't fully understand the blog. If you miss one of the important blogs, you could do the growth mindset or any of those after ones and catch up on your points.
I really do think that the extra credit helped a lot, because this is the first time I've ever done anything to do with gaming at all, so it really helped.
I would like another module taught in this way. I think it's just how structured it is. It really does help, and it kind of pushes everyone to do better.
Would I like another module to be taught this way? I think so, yes, actually. At first I wasn't so sure about it, but now I think that it would be actually quite nice.
I think it'd be interesting to have another one of the different modules kind of taught this way. I think it would be cool maybe to have half the modules kind of taught the way they are now and the other half kind of like this, so it's kind of like a balance.
I feel like the more we can do this type of module, the more developed it can become, and I can actually see how it may be of value, to be honest.
I would love another module taught in this way, something like web development. I just think something with such in-depth detail needs to be broken down a lot more.
I think this teaching style will be better than other teaching styles, because especially if your teacher / lecturer is keeping on top of it and keeping communication with you, they kind of force you to do more work and be better.